Today, wrestling's mothership, a district dialed into Hollywood's serene vineyards in Oklahoma. Who knew? Oh!
Travel with AAA's Discover Oklahoma.
Hi, and welcome to AAA's Discover Oklahoma. I'm Jennifer Reynolds.
And I'm Dean O'Lawley.
We're coming to you from River Sport Adventures in the Oklahoma City Boathouse District this week.
And the structure behind us, that's the Sand Ridge Sky Trail. And did you know, by the way, it's the world's tallest adventure course. And we'll have more on that incredible course a little bit later in the show.
It is fun. Ropes course, zip line, the whole deal. But right now we're going to zip on off to Chandler, where a couple of brothers put their talents and their ideas together to create a gorgeous and award-winning winery.
Greenfield, Vineyard, and Winery is this week's agritourism adventure.
Picturesque, peaceful, and quietly nestled in a beautifully wooded area just north of Chandler, the Greenfield Vineyard and Winery has been impressing people since 2005, not only with their award-winning wines, but as a fun location for different kinds of events. The most popular ones are weddings.
Really all kinds of events, anything you can think of, we've done. Lots of weddings, which are wonderful, but when people come out here and do weddings, it's wonderful to meet the family. People come from all over the country. We had a bride from Brazil. Her parents and the whole family comes up from Brazil, and you know, it was just a real cultural experience here at our place in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. It was pretty amazing.
And if you decide this is to be the location for your wedding, well, of course, it all starts with planning.
When brides come out, they typically come out and have a meeting with me, and we discuss all the things that we can provide for them, which are all the tables and chairs and our house tablecloths, and we have a amphitheater out front where most of the weddings take place, up to 150 people. The amphitheater overlooks the vineyard, so the bride and the groom are standing on the stage right next to the first row of vines, so it's really a beautiful setting.
Brothers Mike and Gary have put their hearts and souls into this place, and their passion for making great wine and for creating memorable events is quite evident. They not only do weddings here, but musical events and concerts, for example. And one of the big secrets to the Greenfield success, they just love meeting people and making new friends. And when people do come out to tour the facility, that in itself many times turns into an impromptu party.
Yeah, it's a relatively small place, but a tour amounts to talking about wine, and we love to do that. So yeah, we'll take them through the facility. They're welcome to walk the vineyard and the grounds. We're blessed with hiking trails that all through our woods neighboring, which doubles as a Girl Scout camp that our mom's been doing for 44 years. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, all sorts of things like that.
Both brothers say when people come out that very first time, they fall in love with the view.
Most people are surprised about when they get out here in the middle of nowhere, and the facility is so beautiful and nice, and the views. We had a couple in here from California yesterday that were amazed about the views, and I asked them if they were surprised about what Oklahoma looked like, because they had never been here before. They were from the Monterey area, and they were completely shocked.
So you'll find a beautiful setting, as we've learned, but let's get to how all this started. These gentlemen know how to make outstanding wines, and as Gary says, it all starts with the grapes, and the downside is fighting Mother Nature, but the upside is extremely rewarding.
Well, the best part to me was, you order in cuttings, sticks this big around about this long, and 3 years later you're drinking wine that you made out of those sticks. I mean, it's just so gratifying, when the leaves bust out in the spring, and you just know everything's, it's going to be okay.
And to have people come in and taste that same wine, and the look on their face is, wow, I'm really surprised this is so good from here.
And with the 6 different varieties of grapes grown here that create the various blends, the Greenfield brothers themselves use a blend of science and art to create great wines to enhance the beautiful setting here.
To book your next outdoor adventure, maybe a wedding or reception, or take a tour of Greenfield Vineyard and Winery, first go to the Discover Oklahoma page at travelok.com.
With plenty of deep-rooted destinations around our state, agritourism is Oklahoma's growing adventure. Hey, they're having a good time back there.
They are.
Shall we bounce off to a new destination?
Absolutely.
Here's one with deep roots in the film industry.
In fact, who knew that a neighborhood in Oklahoma City had a direct line to Hollywood?
Our Shel Wagner has found a destination deep in Oklahoma City's historic film row, where a little elbow grease and a little vision combined to once again make it a great place to catch a movie.
Once upon a time, right here along Sheridan Avenue, you would be able to find Hollywood movie stars in town to promote their latest films. That's because this area was one of the nation's film exchanges, and every major movie studio had an office here. This is where the studios would market their films to theater owners in this part of the country.
People who owned movie theaters could come to the screening rooms for these studios, see the movies, and decide whether they liked it and wanted to show it in their own theaters.
Flash forward 80 or 90 years when three movie lovers and business partners, Melody Garneau, Becky Kephart, and Helen Golden, had the idea to open an eatery that would also show films. They started browsing around for a venue, and this neighborhood caught their attention. Historic Film Row sounded just right, and it was beginning to taste a renaissance, waking up from a decades-long Skid Row slumber.
We happened to find this space on the corner. And we thought, that'd be great. How would we put a theater? I mean, how would we show movies? And the guy who owns the building said, well, if you're going to put in a theater, you should rent the other side too, because that's a theater. I'm like, really? And we walked into the place and we're absolutely amazed that there's a theater in there that we didn't, I mean, Becky almost cried. It was just that perfect.
The building they'd found had been occupied by Paramount Pictures from the early 30s through the mid-1960s.
There were 4 screening rooms here in Oklahoma City. This is the only one left. But the projection room is still there, and we have reel-to-reel projectors so that we can show some, people like to hear that clip, 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 clip.
With an upgraded sound system and the addition of a counter for serving gourmet coffees, smoothies, breakfast casseroles and muffins, sandwiches, soups and pie, wine and beer, the Paramount OKC was off and running.
We show movies on the weekend, so they get to take whatever wine or beer or coffee they buy into the theater, and that's been the big draw for a lot of people. They're just like, wow, I can bring that in there? Yes, you can. So it's been really great.
The theater has also become a favorite performance venue for local bands, poetry readings, you name it. And the place is very film student friendly.
When you're a film student, you don't make a lot, you don't have a lot of money, but you want to see what you've made up on a big screen. So our idea was that we'd give them a special break on price and so forth, and they would get to show their movie in a real theater on a big screen, and they could invite their family and friends and have a big deal.
The hope is to bring back the idea that seeing a movie is an event.
And then afterwards, you can step out into this coffee shop and talk with each other about what you saw, what you liked, what you didn't like. That's the part that you don't necessarily get at a great big theater, that you can have here. You can have discussions about it.
The Paramount OKC brings in filmmakers, historians, and other fascinating folks to speak in conjunction with some of their screenings. So chances are you'll learn something new or expand your perspective in a way that'll make seeing the film even more fun. So while Sheridan Avenue may no longer be the most likely place for an A-list celebrity sighting, inside the Paramount OKC, I'm happy to report that the stars are back and they are shining once again. In Oklahoma City, I'm Shel Wagner.
To see what films are showing each month, as well as special events happening at the Paramount OKC, take a short trip over to the Discover Oklahoma page at travelok.com. Stay where you are. We've got lots more coming up.
We have a lot more Who News. For example, who knew that the epicenter for the sport of wrestling could be found in Oklahoma?
We'll take you to Stillwater and the National Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum when AAA's Discover Oklahoma continues.
On the road, one never knows what lies ahead. Indubitably, almost every week, one encounters bad form from Sunday drivers.
Sheer rudeness begets the occasional fender bender.
Precisely why we have insurance from AAA.
Hear, hear.
A name drivers can trust.
Especially good ones.
Especially great ones.
Cheers!
Plenty of room to swing a rope.
Plenty of heart and plenty of hope.
waving wheat.
Can sure smell sweet when the wind
comes up behind the rain. Every night my honey lemon die. Sit alone and talk. Come on, making lazy circles in the sky. We know we go to the land, and the land we belong to is grand. So when you say Oklahoma,
Oklahoma, okay.
L-A-H-O-M-A,
Oklahoma, okay.
Oklahoma, come see for yourself.
Forecast cloudy and windy today with gusts up to 40 miles per hour. The temperature dropping from 59 degrees this afternoon. The temperature dropping from 59 degrees this afternoon.
Until there's an accident rewind button, there's the next best thing. Insurance from AAA.
Welcome back to AAA's Discover Oklahoma, spotlighting destinations this week that may leave you scratching your head and asking, who knew?
Who knew? Now, you know what? There are museums that pay homage to most any sport that you can think of, but when it comes to wrestling, the sport's only national museum, I love this, can be found in Stillwater.
Folks all across the country who are into wrestling look at Oklahoma as the authority, and once you visit the Hall of Fame, it's easy to see why.
One of the many things I learned visiting the National Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum is, did you know, for example, that wrestling is one of the oldest sports? And the museum recently acquired a Greek artifact that confirms that.
It is the oldest written instruction of sport, which happens to be wrestling. So we can now say that we are the oldest sport in the world.
The museum has a very extensive library of books dating back to the 1600s. In fact, some of them are under glass because they are so fragile. They have the NCAA guides from the 1930s on. There's a lot to cover in the museum, and it's very nicely divided up. But there's also a tremendous amount of interesting information. The first large room is actually the museum, and the history walks around the outside of the walls. There are the championship walls, which covers the NCAA's Divisions 1 and 2 and 3, NAIA championships, cadets, universities, and juniors, as well as the World Championships.
Also in the first room, you'll find our Olympic room, and that'll have your Pan American Games, your Olympic teams. We have sketches of everyone that has won a gold medal. We have Olympic posters dated back to the 30s, I believe. And then you get into the John Vaughn Hall of Honors. And that is where we get into where the Hall of Fame is.
Many of the people in the Hall of Fame or have just wrestled throughout the years donate memorabilia. The distinguished member cases are probably the most visitor-drawn cases because there are items here that athletes would normally keep in their home, and they've donated them to the museum to showcase. Another popular area for visitors is the Outstanding American Room. And that brings me to one of the other big things I learned by visiting here, and that's how wrestling influenced these people in their youth and in later years achieved national success through various avenues.
We have Dan Cathy, Billy Baldwin. Our wrestling presidents that we have are showcased back there. Generals from military are back there. But we also have a few distinguished member cases that are back there, and so you also get to see the most recent distinguished members that are in that room as well, such as Stephen Neal, Chris Taylor, who was a major powerhouse that died way too young whenever he was wrestling. He was known as the Gentle Giant, 440 pounds. So I would say the Outstanding American Room and the Distinguished Member cases are probably my favorite because that's where you get to see an actual piece of history.
The executive director of the museum is Leroy Smith, who is part of the Smith legacy family. Now, two of the most interesting artifacts that they now have in the museum include Paul Keene, the first NCAA champion for OU, and Ed Gallagher, the first NCAA champion for OSU, and their trophies are on display. The National Wrestling Hall of Fame and the museum is an extremely interesting place where this sport's fascinating history is told for all to enjoy.
You can find the Hall of Fame and Museum's hours, a calendar of events, and shop for some cool merchandise on their website. We'll link you to it from the Discover Oklahoma page at travelok.com.
You'll want to stay with us because we have more adventures on the way.
When we come back, we'll be zipping through the Boathouse District, literally.
We'll explain when AAA's Discover Oklahoma continues right after this.
We had some family members that had switched to AAA, and they kept telling us how much money they were saving and kept telling us that we should look into it. And so we decided that we should go see what we could do. We have 3 kids, and there's not a lot of money left at the end of every month, and so any penny that you can save is a big deal. AAA was something I always heard of when I was growing up, and when people talked about it, they talked about it in a reliable way. And so when we switched to AAA, it was something that we just trusted from the beginning. It ended up saving us quite a bit. Our car insurance alone saved us probably about $600 a year. Our life insurance, we were actually able to double our coverage, and our premium still went down close to about half as well. Again, it's not something you ever want to think about as you grow up and become a grown-up with a family, but it's definitely something that you need to have. Having insurance is important. Having affordable insurance that you can trust is a blessing.
Welcome back to AAA's Discover Oklahoma, spotlighting unexpected destinations this week.
Now this next one, it got my attention. I cannot wait to give this a try.
Too bad that Abby Curran beat you into the harness. She's all geared up and ready to go to show us the ropes here at the new Sandridge Sky Trail in the OKC Boathouse District.
Oh! Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. It was awesome.
Let's rewind a bit and start from the beginning. Just off of downtown in Oklahoma City, you'll find the Boathouse District along the Oklahoma River. New to the growing area is the Sandridge Sky Trail. It's the tallest adventure course of its kind in the world.
It's 80 feet tall. There are multiple levels of different adventures, whether it's going over swinging ropes, nets, tight ropes. I mean, it's a really exciting adventure. The higher you go, the more challenging it gets. And we use a continuous belay system, which means you're in a track the whole way. It's very, very safe, but it certainly is a thrilling adventure.
I, along with kids in their summer program, put safety first with a harness. Our videographer, Walt Cox, had his daughter Kennedy join us for this high-in-the-sky adventure.
We're creating an attraction that is fun for kids and families, but it also encourages movement and getting active and being healthy. All of those things I think are very important, but the idea of having just a high adventure attraction here that is, again, devoted to movement, I think is pretty exciting for Oklahoma.
Also included in the 6th-level Sky Trail is the country's tallest stainless steel slide.
You sit on a mat and you go about 22 miles an hour down this slide to the end. Quite an adventure getting down from the top of the Sky Trail.
As I climbed the Sky Trail, I was amazed by the views of downtown Oklahoma City. I can't believe this is right in our own backyard. The Sandridge Sky Trail is just one of the many activities to check out while visiting the Boathouse District.
You can go get in a kayak, get in a water bike, a dragon boat, go rock climbing. So really we have something that will keep you busy all day and having a blast doing so. You can come and just get a day pass. It's an adventure pass. We've got youth pricing, group pricing, adult pricing. You can get a pass that allows you to do everything and spend the whole day here, or just a single experience pass where you can just do one thing.
So many new and exciting Sky Trail additions to be added throughout the year. Everyone should check out my favorite part of the experience, the Rumble Drop, an 80-foot base jump off of the Sky Trail.
You free fall and it brings you to a gentle stop at the bottom.
I figured that since I was already up there, I needed to just go for it. So happy I did.
It was really fun. I totally recommend it. Complete adrenaline rush, yes.
From the Sandridge Sky Trail in Oklahoma City, I'm Abby Curran.
For all the information you need about the Sandridge Sky Trail, along with a list of happenings around the Boathouse District, you can just click on the Discover Oklahoma page at travelok.com.
Who knew we had all these quirky destinations?
We've had enough to fill up this show for 22 years, so that's something.
That's true. In fact, you got to check out this next one.
It's the home of one of the world's most famous detectives. We'll take you there when AAA's Discover Oklahoma continues.
It was Friday the 13th. It was a dark and windy night. And all of a sudden, we heard a thump thump. There was a very large 40,000-pound elm tree laying on our house. And the first call I made was to my AAA agent, Leanna Osborne.
It's probably around 8:30, and I was just walking around the house, and my cell phone rings, and I answer it, and it's Christy, and she's got this panic voice, and she's like, A tree is falling on my house. What should I do?
She said, I need to make some phone calls. Why don't you call 911? Call 911 because nobody knows what to do in that situation. So we called 911 and the fire department came. And they said, this tree is going to take this wall down. You need to get out of the house. And then a week later, there was a ferocious hailstorm and our whole roof was wiped out. And again, I was calling Leanna going, Leanna! Long story short, by the time it was all said and done, I don't know what she did. She worked magic. All I can say is, I love AAA.
Welcome back. AAA Oklahoma makes this show possible and does a lot of other great things around our state. Here's a look at today's AAA.
Hi, Chuck May here with AAA Oklahoma. Watching your teenager get behind the wheel can be pretty scary. With so many dangers on the road, how do you know if they're ready? At AAA, we get how stressful this can be, so we've created a full range of tools to help you through the learning to drive process. First, sign up for our free Start Smart newsletters to teach you and your teen how to reduce risk by working together. Next, check out Take the Wheel, our affordable, parent-taught driver's education program that provides everything you need to teach your teen how to drive. Plus, it's certified by Oklahoma, so your teen can get that license earlier. If your teen's already driving, our driver safety program, Teen Smart, can make them 3 times safer on the road. In fact, it's worked so well, we offer up to a 25% savings on their AAA auto insurance for successful completion. Find out more under Teen and Mature Driver Safety in the AAA News and Safety section of AAA.com.
AAA for the ones who matter most to you. This week we're talking about things in Oklahoma that make you ask who knew. For example, did you know that per square mile, our state has the most diverse terrain of any state in America?
Did you know that Oklahoma has more drivable miles of Route 66 than in any other state? Who knew?
The Wichita Wildlife Refuge is our country's oldest wildlife park. Who knew?
And for example, Clarence Nash from Watonga was the voice of the original Tom and Jerry, of Tom specifically, and he also was the voice of Donald Duck.
And there was a man from Pawnee who created one of the world's most famous detectives, Dick Tracy. It's probably the first thing you see in downtown Pawnee if you come into town from the west, the big mural of Dick Tracy. The famous cartoon detective wasn't born here, but his daddy was. The Pawnee County Historical Society Museum is also Dick Tracy headquarters and a tribute to native son Chester Gould, the local boy who created the popular comic strip.
I think he was a regular kid, kind of ornery like everybody. Fooled around late at night. But he was a good kid, everybody liked him. And after he got famous, I think all the women liked him. I think every woman in Pawnee said they had dated him one time or another.
Gould was born in a log cabin in Pawnee in 1900, but left town when he was 19. He landed in Chicago, where his idea for a dashing detective took root and propelled him to fame and fortune.
Well, it was different. For one thing, it was more of a continuation of a story until he completed it, whereas most of the cartoons is a one-shot thing. They do it one time and that's it, and they start on another one. But he kept his going just like they started out in the movies with those short shots week after week.
Gould was an innovator. The first cartoon murder happened in the Dick Tracy comic strip, and perhaps the two-way wrist radio was an inspiration for the modern cell phone. The characters he created were unforgettable, and some, like B.O. Plenty, also had their roots in Pawnee.
One of his favorites was B.O. Plenty. I don't know whether you remember him or not. He had the beard and he dressed like a bum. Well, he was a real character in Pawnee. We called him Billy Whiskers. And he went around with his donkey wagon through the alleys looking for food.
The Dick Tracy characters spawned books, action figure toys, model cars, even a movie. Chester Gould passed away in 1985, but for a glimpse of his legacy, you need go no further than the place that raised him and fueled his fertile imagination, Pawnee, Oklahoma. You can learn more about the Pawnee County Historical Society Museum and Dick Tracy headquarters on their website. We'll make sure you find the link via the Discover Oklahoma page at travelok.com. That's our show for this week. A big thanks to the folks here at River Sport Adventures in the OKC Boathouse District for hosting us this week.
And we also want to thank you very much for watching.
Next week, we're following the music, going inside the head and home of rising star John Fulbright, toe-tapping with legendary fiddle player Byron Berline, and we're on the Woody Guthrie Trail from a new center in Tulsa to the annual festival in Okemah. Hope you'll join us.
So until next time, remember,
there's always something to discover in Oklahoma.
Ready to go try the rumble jump?
I am.
All right.
Production vehicle provided by the Oklahoma Ford Dealers, official partner of the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department.